Okay, folks, another episode of Beyond the Gates, episode 76, which dropped on June 17th. Yes, I'm playing catch up yet again. But we start off the episode review talking about Jacob and Naomi, and they're laying in bed. Side note, just shout out to the production team and whatnot, because Naomi in the bonnet, I loved it. It's just the authenticity of the black experience. I just had to shout that out real quick. Now they're in bed together, and we haven't seen these two, just chilling at home in a long time. We usually see these two kind of what's that saying, like two boats passing in the night or something like that. We might see them briefly together at Uptown or at Orphe Jeans, but then one of them gets a phone call or a text having to bolt, whether it be Jacob back to the police station or Naomi with a family or friend crisis going on. So it's just cool to see these two at home, for the first time in a while together. But they both wake up and they talk about, what happened with their double date partners. The fact that Ashley rejected Derek's proposal, and Jacob is assuming that, it has to do with Andre. But the thing is, she's not convinced and points out that, look, your gut instinct, I don't know. I don't think it's right. But Jacob's deduction is like, well, think about how close those two are, especially after that whole baby elevator thing. And I don't know. He's right, but at the same time, I saw fans giving him flack. It's like, well, it's crazy how he can be right about a situation like this, but he needs to stop spending time worried about, Ashley and her love life and focus on the Leslie case. But before Naomi has to go to a family meeting, he's like, hey, you want a quickie? So speaking of rude awakenings, Derek, it's interesting how Ashley's dream translates to the person who's at her front door. Now, Ashley is apparently hungover pretty bad about after knocking back who knows how many shots with Naomi at the country club the night before. But she wakes up and Andre, half naked, is standing at the edge of her bed. And the thing is, her reaction to this isn't one of shock or whatever. It's almost like an intrigued look, like, oh wow. And it's crazy because he's like, guess I really wore you out last night. So then, she wakes up, it's like, oh, it's just a dream. So then there's a knock on the door, and as she goes over there, part of the audience is probably like, oh, I wonder if she thinks it's Andre. And then she answers the door, but it's actually Derek, and he's actually there to pick up, like, I guess his last bag of stuff he left over. And from there, they yet again talk about why she turned his proposal down and how she's not ready. And it's crazy because Derek, like, he looks a bit disheveled, like, he's been depressed and whatnot since last night. And you can understand why, but he just keeps going on about it. It's like, I thought love would be enough, and I just wanted something stable and this, that, and the third. And I just want us to be happy, but I don't know. It's just that I can't just wait around for you to be I don't know. I feel like I agree with what Jacob mentioned, I think in Monday's episode, or was it Tuesday's episode? I'm losing track. This is my own fault. This is my own fault. But the episode where he called out Derek for, like, well, was it an ultimatum? Like, why you pulled out the proposal as almost like a security thing to kind of mark your territory. So in the midst of the back and forth, Ashley actually bolts to the restroom because she has to throw up because she's still hungover. But as she comes out, Derek, showing he still has feelings for her, gets her some tea, and she's asking if he will fight or run, and he wants to save them, and so does she. And I have to agree, marriage isn't the answer. Derek has no other ideas. I'm not saying these two need to get together, but remember the video I did? I think it was Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, it was before the 16th, and I asked the question of, will Ashley accept Derek's proposal? It was either in that video or an episode review, and I was like, you know how there are couples out there who are they are just so wrong for each other. So many reasons why they shouldn't be together. And yet they feel like a baby is the answer. Like a baby is the thing that's going to keep them together. It's going to fix all their problems. And that makes no effing sense. And I feel the same way about this. It's just like Derek's proposal in general. Like I said multiple times, why in the world would you think a proposal is going to solve the issues that you and Ashley have? The issues neither of you knew you even had to begin with prior to living together. It's like living in Ashley's place, aka temporarily our place, didn't work out for multiple reasons. And then it just feels like this proposal, it just felt like it's like, oh, you got a paper cut, Ashley. I need to take you in to get surgery. No, get a Band-Aid and some rubbing alcohol. That's exactly what this felt like, because I know time lapses in this show kind of odd. Sometimes it's like, one episode starts the next day, and other times events from like 2 weeks ago in our time covers the span of a couple of months in the show's time. But based off what we saw on screen, Ashley and Derek had schedule conflicts for like date night for just 2 days back to back, where it's like, hey, tonight can't do dinner. Already have plans with the other firemen, go out and get some drinks. How about dinner tomorrow night? Ooh, actually I can't. I'm having dinner with my mom. And all of a sudden it's like, maybe the spark isn't there anymore. No, you just have lives outside of each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. So now he's like, you know what? Ever since we moved in together and it didn't work out, I just feel like there's some underlying tension. I think proposal is the best thing. No, I agree with Ashley. Marriage is not the right answer. So Derek not having any other ideas, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying this in defense of Ashley, but think of something else. Like, seriously, I really don't understand his thought process there. But Ashley's like, I do love you. I mean, you're kind and brave, but they just need to put in work. And Derek still feels like there's something holding her back, and a timing issue isn't the right. You're not telling me the truth. Well, even if Ashley isn't telling the truth, I agree. The timing is wrong, dude. So he walks out, and, from there, she's basically eating and drinking things to help her out with the hangover. He comes in with some lattes, and she's like, wait, why don't you think I want to marry you? And Derek is assuming that Ashley is just keeping him as a placeholder in case somebody else better comes along. And it's like, look, I would never cheat on you. Well, there's that. And I mean, here's the thing though. Just because someone says they won't cheat on you doesn't mean they won't leave you for, once a better offer or a better deal comes along. Essentially, it's that meme of you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. So Derek finally just says, you know what, we're done. There's nothing else I can say. I wish you and she's like, well, I wish you the best. And sorry if I'm too cliche. And I wish that I could have been the one to make you happy. So he just ups and leaves. And I'm sorry, I just don't, like I said, I'm not saying I'm rooting for these two, but he was giving ultimatum vibe. I mean, obviously we know there's something. Ever since Andre went in for the kiss, she blocked it. He opted to avoid her, and she started missing him. You could argue there is Ashley's playing both these dudes. Low key, Derek had his Jacob intuition where he felt something was off, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to leave now. And the thing is, he's making the right choice. It just feels so, Lord, dare I say, soap opera of this to be dragged out the way it is. Okay, all right. Let's move on to something else here. This is some wild stuff. Now let's talk about Nicole, because of the fact that over at Anita and Vernon's place, and remember Anita is still in Chicago. Danny is make sure she looks right before Chelsea and Madison show up, and Danny tells them that, hey, your Aunt Nicole is on the way. And this is the weird part. Chelsea, and I get this too, because Danny is like always just ready to run off at the mouth. Chelsea's like, look, hey, could you just dial it down a bit, because I want everybody to meet Madison, but don't oversell it. And Chelsea's like, hey, look, that includes your boyfriend. And then I love how Danny's like, he's not my boyfriend, in reference to Andre. So Nicole shows up, and she's taken aback when, they have to explain that Madison's Chelsea's new girlfriend. It's like, oh. And Danny recalls how, their father, Vernon, used to grill their boyfriends and whatnot. So Madison whispers to Chelsea that, okay, maybe this is a bit too awkward. This is too soon. Chelsea agrees. Yeah. This is why this episode gets like a 6 out of 10. It wasn't a bad episode, but the way this show operates is baffling. And it's not bad per se, but the writer's choices kind of, confuse me at times, where some storylines, they will drag that sucker out. But then other storylines, it will get like the speed run. So Vernon shows up, and he's happy to meet Madison, and no one has told him anything about her. Yeah, because this has just happened. It just happened. So they all sit around and they talk about how, oh yeah, we met at the hospital, and well, technically it was uptown, but whatever. So Vernon sends Nicole and Danny out so he can get a chance to know Madison, and she tells Vernon about her credentials, basically like a job interview. And he admires the fact that, oh, okay, well, that's an admirable, career path, working in the medical field. And, hey, in our family, it's about, well, family first. And she admires them for the Duprees for that. And he's surprised that this was set up so quickly. And Chelsea's like, yeah, it was my mom's idea. And that really explains a lot. So speaking of Danny, she's talking to Nicole about how Bill's in recovery. And, They kind of have a joke at his expense about all the contempt they have for him. But of course, Danny is rightfully still worried. And she's hoping that in hindsight, I can kind of understand. She's hopeful that Danny treats Chelsea better than Bill treated her. But that doesn't mean you should just, speed run your daughter's blossoming crush into a full-blown relationship. It's like, because your marriage failed, you're trying to prop up your daughter and parade her around for her coming out party, so to speak, and she has a new person in her life, and now meet the family. This is happening way too fast. So that's when this episode takes an interesting turn. Danny tells Nicole about her and Andre, and Nicole goes off. But then Danny's like, wait, what's wrong? Like, y'all aren't even related. Y'all not even blood relatives. And it's like, yet again, and I loved how fans responded to this. A lot of fans felt like Nicole was lashing out to Danny even more than she had to Ted or Leslie. It's almost like all this tension and anger was built up. And yet again, you have another lie that has piled on. And I hate to make this comparison, but it's almost like the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock scenario, where allegedly the reason the slap happened was, because Will was just sick of it, because all the disrespect, not just from Chris, but all the different memes and comedians and articles and videos online that kind of build up. It's like it was the last straw and that was it. So that's kind of what happened here. Now, Nicole tells her about the fact that I asked you about you and Andre and you lied. And Ted betrayed me. And now my own sister is betraying me. And now you sleep with my nephew. And she's like, look, I care about Andre. And Danny's like, are you jealous? I'm like, what? And she's like, wait, yeah, I wish I was sleeping with my nephew. So she's not about to, instantly forgive Danny. She just bounces. So Danny goes in to talk, with Vernon and Madison and Chelsea to see how everything is going. And she basically tells Madison about how they're vigilant, against outsiders. And she just reassures them, like, I'll never do anything to help hurt Chelsea. Again, this crap has just happened way too fast. But Vernon is happy to hear it. And from there, Chelsea and Madison leave. So Vernon and Danny ask, just have a brief conversation. Honey, what happened with Nicole? And Danny rightfully doesn't explain. This is not the right time. And both of them wonder if Chelsea's moving too fast and seeking comfort, in another person due to the whole thing with Bill. Honestly, I don't know if it has to do with Bill. I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think Chelsea is still in her feelings about, what's her name, Allison. I wouldn't even say turning her down, but Allison just reminded Chelsea what their threesome activities were. Chelsea just fell too fast and wanted to kind of separate Allison from her husband. But hey, me and my husband explore things outside of each other, usually with each other. So it's not like he goes off with another person without me or vice versa. So I think Chelsea is using Madison as a rebound. That's what I think. Now, over in Ted's office, also, I know that Andre was rocking a beanie in this episode, and one tweet that had me rolling was, do you think they had Andre wearing that beanie in order to kind of illustrate the whole Danny robbing the cradle? That was way too funny. So over at Ted's office, they chat about the fact that, hey, Danny is kind of opening up to the idea of us going public. And Ted is like, ooh, I can't even begin to fathom how Nicole's going to react to that. And Andre thinks Danny doesn't want people to know they're together because she's afraid he will hurt her. But the fact that, I don't know, is something else. Because, they briefly bring up the whole, look at the situation I have with Nicole right now. And Andre's like, well, a relationship is like a shark and has to move forward or die. It just can't remain stagnant without moving. Of course, Ted doesn't want his marriage to dissolve or anything. And Andre's like, well, just, I feel like I'm quoting, what was it? Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I've only seen those movies once, so I can't really quote them by heart. I'm pretty sure Just Keep Swimming is in one of those movies. And, well, Ted, in order to keep swimming, you're going to have to do more than send like 1 or 2 bouquets of flowers. That's all I'm saying. But then this fool says, like, hey, maybe me and Danny can go on a double date with you and Nicole someday. Good grief. Now, in the midst of Bill being at home, he's out of the hospital. He has his walking cane and whatnot. Haley is not happy that Bill is drinking before noon, and this fool is like, well, hey, I got to make up for lost time. And he is just excited because being stuck in the hospital for as long as he was, he's been missing the comforts of home. And she rightfully says that, hey, we had to put you in the hospital for a reason. And yet again, he's upset because, well, there's a strict regimen he must follow. And the fact that Haley is trying to be a dutiful wife. Sorry that you didn't enjoy breakfast because you had fruit instead of steak. I remember the comedian Bruce made a joke, like, when he was trying to lose weight or whatever. Wait, this is like comic view Bruce. And he talked about how, like, you know what? Like, think about being, overweight and trying to lose weight, dieting and eating right. Like, imagine waking up in the morning. Who wakes up early in the morning excited to eat oatmeal? Nobody. There ain't nothing like waking up to the smell of that sizzling sausage and bacon in the pan. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So he actually is ecstatic over the fact that he doesn't have to do any more physical therapy. However, Shanice shows up and announces like, hey, actually, we're continuing the physical therapy at home. And she takes away that booze, I think, as quickly as she took away that what did Naomi bring him in the hospital? Was it like a burger or something like that? And Shanice came in there and swiped it. I love how they did this same thing here where Bill's like, oh yeah, what? So Naomi actually comes over in the midst of this and teases Bill as, he's going through the therapy. And of course, Haley, I don't know. I understand there are people who are Haley fans, but for whatever reason, I don't know why even Bill is like this. You're always going to give her a hard time? Yeah. Because of the fact that Haley keeps going on about how I miss my friend. And Naomi's like, I'm not about to, call you my stepmother or anything. It's like, hey, I told you I appreciate what you did by getting, my dad to the hospital as quickly as you did. But if you act like this is going to bring us closer together or whatever, it's not. And I get it. It's the betrayal. Seriously. So from there, it's one of those situations where she's like, you know what? How about this? We leave and we give Naomi and Bill some father-daughter time. That way Bill can kind of get a brief rest from Shanice's, authority as a physical therapist. And Naomi can, spend time with her pops. So Bill shows Naomi how I'm doing good with this cane here. Don't be worried about me. And from there, she does briefly, I believe, make a nod to Ashley's situation where she admits she's soured on cuckoldom, and she won't go into detail. But Bill tells her about physical therapy, and he tries to make a joke or two. But obviously, Naomi and him kind of have a serious moment where she mentions, the thought of him not being around is something she can't bear. So, they hug, and that was nice. So after Naomi leaves and Shanice leaves after physical therapy, Haley's over there crying, and Bill's like, wait, baby, what's wrong? And she admits that she was afraid too because of how close she was to losing him. And you're all I have. Basically a reminder to Bill and herself about how she has no family, no friends. You made that choice. Haley, you're just like Eva. You're someone who came from nothing. You had the opportunity as an outsider to be behind the gates, rubbing elbows with the Duprees, yet you opted to sabotage and as a result became ostracized. And while you have Bill, you just got a reality check that he's an old man and he could croak at any moment. And it doesn't matter what black card you have or even child you have. You're alone. You're alone. And even though Bill is reassuring her that, hey, baby, you don't have to worry about me going anywhere. Yeah, she does. We just saw what happened to you the week before. But she does finally calm down, and Bill mentions how he's going to take out a life insurance policy for $10 million, and you're going to be the sole beneficiary. And she's like, wait, what? So after that, Shanice gets back to the hospital, and her and Ashley both sign in, and Ashley explains how her and Derek broke up. And it turns out, Nicole comes in, and Shanice hands her flowers that Ted sent. So, Ted, you're going to have to do more than flowers, dude. That's all I'm saying. Now, over at Orphe Jeans, we see June. I think this is the first time we've seen June in a while, and she's looking rather healthy. Yeah, because the last time we saw her, she was in the hospital for that serious case of pneumonia she had after she slept under the underpass. Now, June is actually kind of nice, telling Naomi that you're a fine human being, and June wonders if, well, turns out a cleanup crew came and raided the homeless area or camp that she was staying at. And June's stuff is all gone and she needs help, recovering some of it. And apparently a picture of her kids was stolen. And I feel like this goes back to that photo that was crumpled up. The one I think, was it Jacob that found it? Or was it Naomi at the diner? You know, when she passed out when she was sick and the photo got dropped, but they brought it to her and she cherished it. So, yeah, that photo's going to play a major role in one of these episodes. But overall, yeah, episode was okay. Yeah, I thought it was alright. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.